Hello everyone, so here's today's coping with corona video, and I'm sure that you've all heard that if you consume enough vinegar and garlic, that's totally going to kill the virus. Well, it's nonsense, but it does mean that I have a very tenuous excuse to show you one of my absolute favorite recipes. Now, in case you missed, it's not true that vinegar and garlic has any effect on the virus whatsoever, so just hashtag disclaimer, that was a stupid joke. Now, the dish which I'm going to teach you today is something called Yasser. It is a Senegalese dish, and because it's a Senegalese dish, I'm going to do a little trick like I did in the Rusk episode. Now you'll notice I didn't change at all, because that would be cultural appropriation, because I am not in fact 1/4 Senegalese. But this is a dish which I think all of you should try out, because it's absolutely wonderful. Now, what you're going to need is chicken. The best thing about this is it scales up beautifully. So I'm only going to be doing 10 pieces of chicken now, but the truth is, I'm not even kidding, even outside of Corona time, when I cook this, I normally cook about 100 or even up to 144 pieces worth of chicken. But I'm just going to show you with 10. 2 chilies, then some bay leaves, some garlic, lemons and limes, onion. Now I particularly like the red onion, but it doesn't have to be red onion. Peri-peri sauce, now that is really important. You can use kind of any hot sauce, but if you can get hold of peri-peri sauce, that's by far the best. For any foreigners who don't know, peri-peri sauce is a Portuguese thing which has been perfected in Mozambique and consequently moved into South Africa, because of course we have a huge population of Portuguese people who came from Mozambique several decades ago, and Nando's of course is the South African brand. That's another thing, a lot of people seem to think that it's Portuguese. No, it came from South Africa, from the Portuguese community in South Africa, and is now obviously all over the world. But if you can get hold of good peri-peri sauce, that's better than other hot sauces. Clear vinegars. Now, a bunch of different clear vinegars is useful. So certainly at minimum 2, I'm going to use 4 though, particularly this one which is wonderful. A Californian friend sent this to us, and it's got a really wonderful spicy kind of note to it, so if you can use that, that's extra good. Wine is optional. It's not necessary. It's useful at the moment, but it's optional. You don't actually have to use wine, but I'm going to put in a little dash, and then obviously just a bit of salt. But that's all that you need. If you really want to, you can add some ginger, but I actually think that this is the base, and I don't like to overcomplicate it. But now all of this prep needs to be done. Fortunately, in this world in which we inhabit, I can do that quite quickly. Gosh, isn't that easier on television? So, now what we're going to do is we are going to plop this all in the tray. Now, all that you do is, it's as easy as this, honestly. You put the chicken in, wunderbar. Now I've got a dash of wine. Like I said, it's optional. You really don't have to. And I don't know why, but using a variety of different vinegars honestly is the trick to this working. I'm only putting in a dash of each one of those, because the one that I'm going to focus on, not that I'm going to put that much in, I have to tell you, is this marvelous Californian one. Oh, how wonderful. Now, that's going to be half of the delicious liquid, which is going to go in here. Your peri-peri on the chicken. I would say for this, probably a third of the bottle's fine, actually. You'll be shocked at how much peri-peri this all gets absorbed by the lemon. So you really can use an awful lot of it. Put the garlic in there. Put our onions in. And here's the one thing which I've done, which often people don't do. If a dish calls for lemon juice or lime juice, I almost always like to roughly peel the Don't worry, the magic of editing means I'll get that very soon. But I roughly peel this so that I've got all of this flesh. And I just squash that, making sure to get all of the actual seeds, because of course that's not nice. If you get any seeds, they burn and they aren't great, so I'll fish those out a little bit later, some along the way. And that is the juice that this is all going to simmer in. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt, but that's to your taste, so there's no particular amount of salt you've got to add in. Don't forget your bay leaves, they're beautiful. So you just tear it up a little bit and put that one in the center. Great. Isn't that wonderful? And then I do know that I'm one lemon short, and we know the reason why, but if you just excuse me, I will very rapidly fetch the lemon, and boom! Okay, so I have squeezed all that lemon and lime in there. It's all just sitting, so the extra liquid, of course, that you need, remember, take the seeds to the side, that's that little bit of a mess here. Oh, let me put in the salt. As I say, that's to your personal taste. And then you add that mixture of wine, optional, the wine's optional, but the vinegar is absolutely compulsory. And you somehow mix that all together. Now, you can also do this in a slow cooker, or what Americans call a crock pot, but I am rather going to do it straight in this roasting dish. And the reason for that is, even if you do make it in a crock pot or in a slow cooker, depending on your particular vernacular, you're going to want to end it off in dry heat in the oven, because that is what makes this all caramelize so beautifully. So I'm guessing about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 at roughly 170 degrees Celsius is going to do it. I normally make it in huge quantities, like I say, so it normally takes me many hours. With one trick, at a point the liquid is going to become kind of clear. It's only done when it becomes, after the clear phase, a sort of rich caramelized kind of color. But anyway, that really is it. And we're now going to put that there. Oh, look how versatile. My God, how talented. Excellent. So we'll check in a little bit later to see how it goes. But trust me, this is one of my favorite dishes in the entire world, and it is the absolute favorite dish of one of my beloved cousins in America. Love you, turtle! And it originally comes, like I say, from Senegal or Cape Verde. Okay, and Cape Verde or Cape Verde or Verde, however you want to say it, is the place that you're typically going to find Yasser. Especially in Senegal, it's virtually the national dish. Serve it with hot rice, and you can even grate a little bit of lemon rind into the rice to give it a bit of a zing. But it's wonderful, trust me. I think that you'll love it. Okay, with Corona. Okay, so, spoiler, it was actually 2 hours. And that's what it should wind up looking like. I'll give you one little hint. Never make only 10 pieces, it's pointless. It freezes incredibly well, and that means, no Ubuntu, it's too hot, my boy. And that means that if you're going to bother doing it, just throw in 30 or 40 pieces and freeze most of it. It's wonderful. One little plug. The vineyard that I got this wine from is Bosman. It's won awards for being an ethical vineyard in terms of its employment kind of track record. They employ a huge number of people, and they do so in a really equitable kind of way. So if you're going to support a vineyard, there are an awful lot, clearly, that do wonderful stuff, but this one is amazing. They employ far more people than they need to in a really dignified kind of way. So, serve that with some rice, whatever vegetables you like, and truly, I would be surprised if you don't immediately say that it is one of the best things that you've munched. It is divine comfort food. Cope with Corona, and thank you to Senegal for the wonder which is Yasser.